"Goodbye, family," I said to myself as I jumped out of the window of my former bedroom. I was always an outcast to my family. They never really understood me or how I felt, mostly because I would never tell them. Every time I did, they would always turn it around to make it my fault and expect me to be perfect. So telling them about my health was out of the question. My parents adored my older sisters. I was the youngest of the family, so of course, everyone thought I was immature. But honestly, I was wise beyond my years. My oldest sister was going off to college and studying chemistry, and my other older sister was always getting good grades in her classes. My grades weren't bad, but they were average. My parents would never acknowledge what I did to help them. I would help out around the house and do everything they asked me to, but it never seemed like it was enough for them. At times, it felt like they didn't want me. It was when I was 13 that I first started developing health problems. I would get very anxious to the point I'd start feeling trapped and wouldn't be able to catch my breath. I started having sleepless nights. My parents obviously didn't understand me and refused to help when I spoke with them. I would get so mad just thinking about the times where they would belittle me. I just felt helpless against them. When I was 15, my oldest sister moved out and my other sister was about to graduate. I was studying really hard for a test that was coming up. I came home with my report card and I got a D in math. My parents screamed at me. I had never been so scared in my life. I threw the report card down and ran upstairs to my room and threw myself down on my bed. Later that night, when my parents were asleep, I emptied out my backpack and packed my clothes, phone, and other things I needed, and headed out my bedroom window. "Goodbye, family," I said as I jumped out my former bedroom window. I ran out of the backyard, down the driveway, and down the street. I had absolutely nowhere to go. I ran down to the nearest bus stop and finished my studies for my test. In the morning, I went to the gas station and grabbed a quick breakfast. When I sat and turned on my phone, I saw that I had over 20 missed calls from my parents. But I just ignored it. They deserved it. I then checked the time and was relieved to see that it was almost 8 o'clock. So I caught the school bus and went to school. I took my test and aced it. After school, I didn't want to go home, so I just wandered the streets until it was nighttime. I saw that a police car was following me, so I ran down some side streets to escape from them. They finally caught me and told me that they were looking for me. I thought the parents had called the police to arrest me. They took me down to the station where my parents were waiting. I thought they were going to be mad at me, but to my surprise, they weren't. "My dear daughter, we were so worried about you," said my mom. She was sobbing so hard. "We're so sorry," she said. Then I realized everything. They would get upset at me for getting bad grades because they never had opportunities like me and my sisters did. "We love you," said my mom. "I love you too," I said. From that moment, I told them everything about how I felt. They apologized. They would do the same things to my sisters. They just didn't know how to express it the proper way. From that day, I learned to not run away from my problems, but to face them and confront them. My anxiety improved greatly along with the relationship I have between my parents. I remember looking back on those memories of me getting yelled at, but what made them even more painful was the fact that I didn't confront them and think about them as a learning experience for me. The lesson for you is to not waste time and confront the problems you're facing. It may be scary, but remember, you can do it. It might just turn out to be something you'd never expect.